thanks to everyone for joining us this afternoon to listen to some stories that our participants from Germany and Colombia are going to share with us. The Council of International Programs started in 1956 with a German Jewish young man bringing 20 social workers from the post-Second World War Germany. That was a time when people who lived there had experienced the life under the Nazi government. And it was a great time for them to come to the United States, and there were 20 of them came. They lived with the foster families and then went back to Germany. It was so successful an experience for the Americans who hosted them, either in their offices or in the homes, because they stayed in the houses, as well as for the Germans who came here to experience the life and lifestyle of the United States. So that was an enriching experience for both the groups, and it was so successful that the State Department started funding it until the George Bush's time. Then the funding was cut, but we still continue to operate the program with the mission of promoting global or international understanding through professional development. That's why these young professionals are here. They are here for 3 months to 6 months, a year or year and a half. They work. We are authorized by the State Department to issue visas for them to work and get training, and then they go back. So the mission, the exchange consists in their sharing with us their value system, their knowledge and their skills and lifestyle, and then they're taking back home the knowledge and skills they gain here, and they have been staying with the foster family. So it's a very good way for them to pick up our value systems, knowledge and skills and lifestyle and so on. That's exchange that takes place. So we are so delighted that you all have joined us. We are so happy that you have volunteered to share your experience with us, and thank you, Faith, again for facilitating this. We have requested a small piece of paper to be passed around. If you write down your name, email address, please make sure you correct the email address correctly, illegibly, so that we can send you some information about our organization if you like to receive information. We offer opportunities for people to travel from here to other countries as well. So, or to volunteer with us for some time. And that young woman sitting there, she is an exchange student at IIT. She is just going to do some internship with us. And Carol, former student from Loyola University, also doing internship with us. So there are a variety of opportunities available with us. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity, and looking forward to hearing the stories from you. Thank you.
So at this point, I want to turn it over to Dr. Charles Hounmenou. He's our faculty member who will be serving as our panel moderator, and then he'll introduce the program and panelists.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are happy to have you here in our school, and we also greet our students who join us today. So as she said, my name is Charles Hounmenou, Assistant Professor in this college. Okay, and I have to say something about myself. My area of research is human trafficking and social work and human rights. That's what I know something about, something I'm trying to build my expertise on. So today we are honored to have 4 distinguished guests who are going to be talking about their international experience of working regarding the issue of immigration and human rights. So I will start by introducing them. Okay. We have Katia Genet, or Genet. Genet. Okay, so she was born and raised in the former eastern part of Germany, in Leipzig, south of Berlin. She spent the last 4 years as a legal guardian for minors, including unaccompanied minors, being responsible about 50 individuals from various countries and backgrounds. Now, to Chicago for 3 months to learn more about the work with refugees at work relief in Chicago. We have next to her Moshta Ibrahimi, okay? Also from Germany. You see, they're from Germany, and they are sitting together. So she's doing a traineeship at Universidad Popular. Is it in Chicago here?
Yes.
Oh.
Little bit.
Okay, okay. She was born in Afghanistan. When she was 11 years old, she moved to Germany with her parents. They couldn't live in Afghanistan anymore because there is war, and we still have war there. You know? They have been in Germany for 20 years now. When Moshta came to Germany, she didn't speak a word of German or knew anything about the German society. Since she was a refugee, by herself, she learned how important it was to get support. She finished her master's and now works as social worker in a non-profit organization. And it is in the departure and perspective consulting. She is also writing her PhD about the returning politics for immigrants in Germany. You see there, Catalina Gomez Diaz from Colombia. She's doing her traineeship at Freedom from Trafficking program at Hartman Human Care Services in Chicago. She says she would love to introduce herself.
Hi, as Charles said, I'm coming from Colombia. I've been here already 3 months. I'm working hard on human care services, a non-profit organization in our Freedom from Trafficking program. Back in Colombia, I'm a psychologist. I'm experiencing focusing working with children and youth. So here I'm working with a new population that are adults, and I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Catalina. We have Daniel Atuesta from Colombia. He's doing his traineeship at the Freedom from Trafficking program at Heartland Human Care Services, that we call Heartland Alliance, right? Daniel Atuesta is a clinical psychologist in Colombia. He got his bachelor's degree in psychology and did his graduate studies in clinical psychology with his specialty in childhood and adolescence. Currently, Daniel is part of CIP. What is CIP, Daniel?
Council for International Programs.
And is placed in Heartland Alliance Human Care Services, where he provides comprehensive case management services to survivors of human trafficking. Very interesting. He is a member of the Freedom Network USA, which is the nation's largest coalition focusing on injustice and creating opportunities for survivors of human trafficking. He is part of the Cook County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, which is a multidisciplinary effort to address human trafficking in the Chicago area. How impressive. So, we know a little bit about our panel. They want to talk today about topics they care a lot about, that we want to learn more about, for which they have expertise. So, what we are going to do today is that they will start by talking about their own experience, their challenges, their stories, about their work. Following that, the second part will be asking them their perspective at the global level regarding the issue of immigration and human rights, and also touching on the issues in the US. In the last part, we have a question and answer section. In that part, they can ask each other questions, and we can get questions from audience. So these are questions they're not expecting. but I'm sure based on their expertise, they'll be able to really educate us about what they know best. Okay? So, in the presentation they're going to have, we give them between 12 and 15 minutes. I hope it's okay. 12 to 15 minutes. The good thing is that Daniel and Catalina are going to be presenting together, which means we can increase your time more. Okay, it's for 15, we can get 20, 25 minutes. Okay? So, we then will turn after, when you start talking and you're getting close to the end of the time, I will let you know by sign. Okay? So that we stay in the time we kind of plan for the work. Okay? I will find ways to let you know. So I'm going to turn now to Catalina and Daniel to start the presentation. Okay? So let me see how I can do this. So bear with me while I'm trying to find. So yours is a freedom. Oh, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Freedom, and let's do
Thank you, Charles, very much. So on behalf of Catalina and myself, we just want to thank everyone for being here, staff and faculty members for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. And we came here with a lot of goals in mind regarding what we want you guys to take out of this. So it's a new experience for both Catalina and me to be working with survivors of human trafficking. It's been an amazing experience. We've been here only 3 months and we still have 9 months, but it's just very soul-filling, and I really love what we do. The first goal is to try to, I know that everybody nowadays talks about human trafficking. If I were to ask, do you know what human trafficking is, probably all of you would raise up your hands, or some. And the thing is, with human trafficking, it's become really, I want to say, stigmatized to victims, to people who suffer, to people who are in chains, to people who get their mouths covered, to people who are restrained from liberty. Which all of this is true, but at the same time, when we talk about human trafficking, we have to start thinking about survivors. I want you all to take that into account. Don't talk about victims. When we victimize a person, we're considering them or they as fewer, as if they cannot do something. When we talk about survivors, we're empowering them. We're telling them, here you are, this is a new world, this is a new opportunity. Why don't you take it? We're here to help you. So that's the first thing we really want to focus on. And doing this involves changing everybody's way of thinking about human trafficking. If you close your eyes for a second and I say human trafficking, what images pop up to your face? To your mind, sorry. Are they the ones that I told you? Chains, people tied up, people beating someone, girls being abused by older men or by other people? And this is what we search. When we search on the web, Google Images, and we put human trafficking, this is what pops up. We don't see any survivor. We don't see any of the great stories behind these people that had probably suffered those consequences or haven't even been tied up and they were trafficked. Trafficking happens all around the world. Everywhere there is trafficking. It's not Colombia, which is a third world country. It's not Guatemala. It's not Mexico. We've seen cases from London. We've seen cases from, I don't know, in the US. So it's a thing that happens all around the world, and this is very important for you to take into account. Taken is a great movie. I don't know if you have watched it. It's beautiful, and it's great, and he goes and gets them all back. This is 1% probably of the human trafficked population. There's way more of a spectrum of people, of victims, of survivors of human trafficking that goes on. So with that said, on our presentations, and please, if you ever give presentations, if you ever have a topic, don't ever put girls tied up, children, just put different stuff. Put those stories of people that have succeeded, that have master's degrees, that have created programs, that are studying, that have a family, that have accomplished a lot in life. This was just a face in the light. So this is why you'll start seeing a lot of images and you'll think, why? Why are they putting those images? This is the reason why. Okay, so human trafficking. We know, and probably we just want to share a little bit of the context between what is human trafficking nowadays. We hear it all the time, but you know, advertising and all that can be a little bit deceiving sometimes. So just for you guys to take a little bit into account. what human trafficking is, what it looks like here in the US, and the sort of laws that have been applied here in Illinois and in the state, in the country itself. So we have two types of categories, if we could call it like that, when we talk about human trafficking. We have labor trafficking and we have sexual trafficking. The people can always relate, oh yes, I've seen sexual trafficking, and this is the one that pops up the most. And a lot of people forget about labor trafficking, and labor trafficking is a big thing. There's studies saying that 51% of the population of survivors of trafficking are labor. So it's a huge amount of people that have been labor trafficked. TVAP, which stands for Trafficking Victim Protection Act, was established in the year 2000 in the U.S. Before the year 2000, slavery would be, well, what we know about slavery, it was actually legal. It was not actually, you wouldn't tell a person like, oh, here, you can be my slave, because people would say, well, why are you doing this? So until 2000, they created this Protection Act, which actually is illegal to have someone in slavery or human trafficking. Just to keep that in mind, that was 19 years ago. So think about it. Slavery was a thing in the US until 2000. TVPA created a program which is called TVAP, so TVAP, which is Trafficking Victims Assistant Program, and that's basically what helps victims, and here in the US to be able to, or not victims, I'm sorry, survivors of human trafficking to be able to prosper and reach their new and happy goals. And as I said, it affects immigrants, citizens of any race, class, gender, religion, and culture. It does not discriminate. Human trafficking is a thing, and it is happening every single day.
Okay, now we're going to talk about a little bit about the victims. We now used to call them survivors more than victims, because this word victims is like re-victimizing them a little bit. So we're talking about survivors and what kind of survivors we can find. So they're in constant fear and dehumanization. They are always feeling fear. It doesn't matter how long ago was their traumatic experience. They are always in need of comprehensive programs, and that's what we are doing right now here with Heart and Human Care Services. Our end goal as case workers here in this kind of area is allowing someone to create a life that they want, free from abusive or exploitation. That's our main goal always when we work with survivors, because even though they have suffered a lot, what Daniel was saying just a moment ago, they have the right to create their own life, to decide what they want and what they need after having this kind of experience. They don't have to be seen as less or something different as we are here. It's like kind of obviously that they need time and therapy to understand their victimization. So we have like many survivors that have suffered the experiences like 20 years, 40 years ago, but they're still like in their positions of feeling victims. So we need to work in this through therapy, different kinds of therapy, and also knowing that time is our main element in our process. And they have a right of being treated with dignity and respect. That was what I was telling. So the sectors where people are trafficked, it doesn't matter their race, religion, and culture, is education, manufacturing, garment factories, agriculture, restaurant work, construction, prostitution, and hotel housekeeping. So we never imagined that we can find all these sectors in trafficking. I mean, we are living our day by day here in the city, no matter where we are, and we always are seeing like people that may be in a trafficking situation, but we never imagine all the sectors that we can find in these kind of situations.
All right, so we have 3 elements when we come to trafficking situations for our survivors, and these they can have these 3 elements, or they can have just one. But this is how the trafficker makes them be trafficked, or makes them stay in those situations. A lot of people ask, well, why didn't they just leave? Well, here's the reason, and there's a lot of psychological stuff behind it. It's not like, oh, I can leave whenever I want, especially when we talk about foreign survivors, which is the population we work in, because they're undocumented, right? And they don't want to get deported to home country where they have a war, or their life is in danger, and they want to stay here, they want to make the American dream, make money, send back to their home country. So these are the three elements, big elements that we encounter in human trafficking. The first one is force. So this is the typical form taken. They actually physically assault, sexually assault, or they isolate the person, and this is how they keep her from, or him or they, from leaving where they are at. The other one is fraud. So false offers, sham marriages. This is where the very creative traffickers come out. And this is where nobody actually understands how they got into that situation. So, oh, what, are you stupid? Didn't you know that that wasn't going to happen? Well, these are people that are vulnerable, and that a person comes up, makes them fall in love with them, promises the best life in the U.S., and they say yes, and they come here, and they're trapped. And coercion, threats of violence, threats of arrest, and or deportation. This is basically with our main population in our work field, and it's what I said. You are here, you don't want to leave here, because here's the money, here's the help. This is where your family wants to be. So take in mind those three components when you think about why aren't the people leaving those horrible situations.
So, after giving you little context about human trafficking, we are now going to talk about our specific program. So we are part of Harlem Alliance. It is a non-profit organization that's been more than 130 years in working. And we have our main agency is Harlem Human Care Services. We are part of the whole umbrella. And in Human Care Services, we are Freedom from Trafficking program. We've been for 7 years working with survivors of human trafficking. And we provide comprehensive case management to our survivors. We only work with foreign people that come from many countries, different countries. We now have like about 30-40 cases working with, and we are part of the programs or the funders that give us the possibility to work with these survivors. So we have two different kind of programs. One that provides the financial assistance for a limited time, and the other one is the comprehensive case management, that we always are providing comprehensive case management. But when they complete their limited financial assistance, they only can receive our comprehensive case management like through the time they want to or they need it. Our main goal is to help them to go through a path where they can learn to be self-sufficient. Most of our participants, we call them participants, are people that are alone here, came like imagining that they were going to have like their best life ever, but they also don't want to go back to their realities in their home countries. So they don't know how to do anything here, they don't speak English, most of them, so they need us to provide them these services. What's the difference between the word comprehensive? That we are kind of bridge and connections between all the things they need to do in health, family, legal topics, and the participants. So we are always the bridge between these two elements, and we try them to be aware of anything they can need, always having in mind that we need them to be self-sufficient. Because, for example, us, we have a limited time here. We're not going to be forever in Heartland Alliance. So we know that in 9 months, we're going to be back in our home countries, and what is going to happen with those participants. So we need them always to know that we can help them, but we always are expecting them to achieve things by their own selves also.
So the main difference between case management and comprehensive case management is case management, you get, the survivor tells you I need this, and then you contact them with someone who can provide that service, and that's it. When we talk about comprehensive case management, and that's what Catalina was saying, is we actually are the bridge. We are the person that goes with them to an appointment, sets up, helps them set up their own appointments. We're there hand to hand if they want us to be. And as Kata said, at the end, we just want them to be walking alone or with their own support line without us So what we actually do is we receive a case, and we call them participants, and they are identified as survivors from human trafficking, and we need to find out what their immediate needs are. And this is very important. As Kata was saying, they don't speak the language, they come here, they have no money, they have no place to stay, they were probably living with their traffickers or a place where a trafficker was around, so they become actually homeless, most of them. So we need to provide them with housing, we need to provide them with food, we need to provide them with health, and that's all our advocacy, and all we do for them is advocate, so they can actually get those services, and they can have what we call a life, if that makes any sense. Most of the barriers that we come to is that because they are undocumented, they are not provided the services that a U.S. citizen will actually get. So public benefits, DHS, it struggles with this type of people because they don't have a social security number, they don't have an ID, they don't have anything to say, hey, I'm here and I was trafficked. So that's our job, and we always need to protect the information that the person is giving to us. We don't want to go telling everybody, oh look, he was trafficked by this and this was done to him. We actually have releases of information. The person can tell us, I don't want to go with it, I don't want to tell this part, or you can tell everything, just help get me the services. And it's a very thin line to be able to get their services for them without explaining too much and without going into their life details that they don't want to share with anyone.
So, as Daniel was saying some minutes ago, the best part for us as case workers is that we are always feeling like the positive results of this process. When we see them like doing their things by themselves, they have some kinds of immigration reliefs here. So when they are proved as survivors of trafficking, they can apply for a T visa, a U visa, asylum. They have different kinds of immigration reliefs. So, like one of our positive results is that, like seeing them achieve these kind of immigration reliefs, knowing that they can start working, having a job here in the U.S., starting to have their own incomes and achieving all the things they want. For example, some kind of our participants, they try to study again, go back to school, have a degree, and start to learn English. These kind of results are like so gratifying for us. So advocacy and the outcomes for us are like being full of gratitude with those participants because they are also teaching us many things. They have lived traumatic experiences, and seeing them achieving and having like good results in this process is like so helpful for us.
Yeah, so we would not be able to accomplish these goals with them if it wasn't for an interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary teamwork. We work with nurses, we work with teachers, we work with staff members, we work with programs inside Heartland, outside Heartland. It's always teaming up with people that want to help, that want to provide their services to people that are in need. And when the survivor actually accomplished something, he's very thankful for all the help he received, or she received, or they received. And it's just so feeling to just be there for that person. We don't take part like, oh, we do this job just to feel happy because we did something good, because we struggle with them every single step of the way, but we feel happy when they're already like getting the services they need. But it wouldn't be able to happen if we didn't have the support from the other teams. So to end a little bit about our presentation, just tell you about our experience in this past 3 months and the 9 months that are ahead of us. Just working here in Chicago, the US. We come from South America, so it's very different. The services are very different. Everything's very different for us, including cold weather. We don't get as cold. So it's been definitely a whole life experience, changing experience, and it's been wonderful to be here. That you can start and I'll talk.
Okay. I've been here 2 months and a half. I arrived like 1 month after Daniel. So I think that the best part of this experience is getting to learn from the participants and from our own team. We had the opportunity to start our experience with the person who created this program in Harlem Alliance, so it was like so positive for us because we got to know like the little details about the whole program. As Daniel was saying, we work with an interdisciplinary like team, so we are always getting to know the legal topics, the areas of psychology, emotional health, and all the needs of the participants. So I think that from my own experience, I'm now having like about 8 cases and getting to know that every experience is unique and different, even though they all suffered human trafficking, is so important because every day we are working with all the cases. Every day I need to have my eyes on the 8 cases I have. So they all have different needs. Every day I need to work in health insurances, going to the appointments. Some of them are working in family reunification. Some of them are working and losing their patients for waiting to their T visas because they're taking a lot of time now with the new government. So all this is important for us to know it. We have a schedule, but we also need to our self-care. So I think it's like a whole day work because we are from 9 to 5 at the office working for the participants, but we are also working on ourselves that we always need to care more for the participants, but if we are not okay, we cannot work for them. And I think this is an important element for social work. We're both psychologists, I can talk for myself, but as a psychologist, we always think, or people think, that we have everything okay for working for emotional well-being of others, but we also need to take care of ourselves. So that's been like my own experience here. And also I think that mixing the professional experience with the personal experience is really important for us. I feel so grateful for the opportunity. I'm still having 9 months ahead, but I think that these 3 months have been like so long, but so full of many positive things, positive results. We are now having like little changes in our team, and I think that being part, even though we know that we have like a deadline here, being part of proposing new things, new changes and new elements in our team, it's been really important. And now that we are the first psychologists that come to that team, so having those compliments from social work is also really important for us.
Yeah, I think I agree completely on Kata's words. I think this has been, as I said, a life-changing experience. We were lucky enough to were brought up in the 1% in Colombia, so we never really did struggle with having food on our table. And this experience has taught me to appreciate every single thing that happens every single day. Being able to get on a bus, being able to have a place where to sleep, being able to be warm, being able to have a Starbucks, which is crazy, $5 coffee. I mean, everything that we do every single day is just amazing that we get the chance to have that and to provide that for someone else. I think that the experience as a whole has been amazing. Chicago, I'm glad I came here, not New York. People are way nicer. It was incredible. We made a lot of friends. I think that was very helpful. You people here are amazing with us, and although there are a lot of discrimination and language barriers and all of that, I think that we've been lucky enough to work alongside people like Darcy Flynn and Megan Mahoney, which are the program creators of Freedom from Trafficking program. Big, famous people around here in Chicago and in the States. And they were just amazing, our bosses. Everything is just amazing. I'm really, really happy to be here. I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I can't thank CIP enough. And I think it's going to help me in developing my professional future and personal future as well. So thank you. Oh, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to add something little, is that like getting to, I was thinking in Charles' introduction, and I think that the most important thing for you is like, I can say that we are working, as we said, we're working with an interdisciplinary team, and it's very important for us, and my own personal opinion, that we have known like legal topics, human rights implies many things, so many elements. And you as social workers, we have the role here as social workers, and we are always thinking that we, like the word advocate is our main word for every day, because we are always advocating for legal topics, emotional well-being, not only helping them to go to an appointment or to go on a bus. We are always needing to know as much as we can so we can do our best work. So I think that was very important to say it, because human rights, immigration policies, and all what we are talking today is very important for us as case managers in the area we are working here.
So thank you all for being here, for listening to us, and thank you for having us, Faith. Thank you for bringing this all together, and all of you for coming and participating. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel and Catalina, for this wonderful presentation. I think people can wait for asking questions later, okay? So we can keep the question for later. So I'm gonna now invite Moshta to talk about her presentation. Okay, she said her topic is very interesting, and it's about the returning politics in Germany. Maybe it can change a little bit, and what role and effect the media and politics has. Maybe she will compare it with the US. This is also a discussion she will host next Thursday at UP. UP, what is University?
Universidad.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Ready?
Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Moshta. I am from Germany, like Charles said it. I'm just gonna tell you first a little bit Universidad Popular. This is the organization that I'm working right now at. Yes, Universidad Popular is in the little village. Most of you guys know me in the little village. I didn't, but now I know. In Universidad Popular, so most of our participants that are in this organization, they are from Mexico, but also we have some from Colombia, Venezuela, but it's a few that are there. Before I came to Universidad Popular or Chicago, I thought it's the same like in Germany, because when we go to organizations and stuff like this, so everybody is like mixed, so we don't have like just Mexican or just Colombian or anything, so we don't have this segregation like here. We are like immigrants or refugees are all the same. But here I learned that it's not the same. Like we had before a lot of people also from Venezuela that was in, at the Universidad Popular, but they were just like, nah, we don't want to be with the Mexicans. We are higher in education and stuff like that, so we don't want to be in the same organization, and that's why they left Universidad Popular, and we have now mostly people from Mexico over there. Universidad Popular is a non-profit organization, so they're based on learning from each other. Even the participants who are coming to Universidad Popular, they are teaching us, or they are teaching each other everything. We have, of course, 22 staff members, but they are all not social workers. They are just people who really try to help. And in some cases, it's because I am a social worker in Germany, and I am working as a social worker, and I know how important this is to know all this background information to how to handle as a social worker. And most of the time I can see that it's not really working over there, because they just like it. But I'm just going to give you an example. Yesterday there was a little girl who just came like crying into Universidad Popular, and her mom was following her. And they had a big argument, we don't know about what, but she just pulled her. So normally we shouldn't let her go with this mom, because she was like really mad at her, and I don't know what happened outside of the university. And the staff members that are there, they will they couldn't handle the situation, so they just let this girl go, and we were just standing all there and didn't know how to act or what to do. So these are maybe small things, but it's social working kind of. We have different programs at the university curricula. We have like the letters programs. I'm also working at the letters program. This is where we teach Spanish-speaking people, sorry for my English, so we are teaching Spanish-speaking people English, and we are talking also about topics like what they have to do if ISIS coming. Because we had a case 3 weeks ago that there was a man who wants to go to work, but the ICE was like picking him up. He just stopped his car and then he asked him some questions and saw that he is illegal here. So he just said, okay, go home. We're gonna go with you home. You have 10 minutes to pack your stuff and we're gonna take you with us. And his wife and his kids, they were also at home, but they didn't take them. They just took the man, but the wife and the kids, they were still at home. They were just, please take us with him, because we don't want to stay without him here. We don't know what to do without our dad or husband. So they're just like, no, we're gonna come for you later. And they're still at our organization. We try to find a way to find the man, because we don't even know where the man is, or the husband. And they're still here. So I didn't come back to take them. So they're still there and trying to find this man. So these are also things that we do, not only just teaching them English, but teaching them how to behave or what to do when ISIS is coming. Families learning to teach, this is also FLT. We're gonna, because it's a different culture, it's a different society that they're in, so they don't really know. Or we're gonna teach them how it is all the skills that you have to have with kids that are like still little. We have also the After Youth program. This is a program for teenagers who can come after school, do their homework for 1.5 hours. So we're trying to help them with their homeworks, and after that we have biking clubs, art, coding, writing. Girls Talk. Girls Talk is really popular because they can just come there and talk, because back home they can't talk about if they have, for example, a boyfriend or stuff like this. So they can just come to us and talk with us about stuff like that, and or everything else, whatever they want. Right. We are teaching them also, because most of them, they really want to know how to, they never use a computer or Microsoft Word. And we're teaching them also how it works with Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, or whatever they needed. Some of them, they never even touch a mouse, so they don't know anything about computers. So it's just the basic. We are not professionals, we just teach them what we know. And the legal guidance support is also really important, because since the situation changed here with Donald Trump, most of them, they want to become a citizen. They want to have their citizenship, so they don't know how to do it, and to pay for a lawyer and give them, I don't know how much money just to fill out your application that you have to do here. It's not everybody can afford it, so we're gonna do it with them. It's a long process. It takes most of the time a year, and they're meeting twice a week to talk about it, what it means, what they have to fill out, and how the process is going, and so every information that you need to become the citizenship or a resident. And we have also the health literacy initiative. That means we give also Zumba class, yoga class for the women, because they don't have anywhere else to go. So they really enjoy the Zumba class right now. And we have also the women empowerment group, and we started with a prayer de mole. The mole is a dish that is from South America, Mexico, everywhere. So it started like a woman was like cooking mole, and then the other woman said, "Oh, that's not my model is better than yours. So they're just like, it became a competition, so that's why it's nowadays it's a really big festival. It's like a block party that we have, so everybody can just come there and show their best model, and the best model is winning also prize. So this year it was, I don't know. So it's a really cool festival if you are interested. This year's unfortunately over, but next year if you want to join, I can give you the information. So my expectation before I came to Universidad Popular, I thought, like I said, everybody's from South or Central America. It's a mixed group, but like I said, it wasn't a mixed group, just Mexicans, and that was really surprising for me because I thought it's like in Germany. And the other thing is that I thought we would have a lot of volunteers at Universidad Popular, but unfortunately we don't, because most of the people, they don't even know that Universidad Popular exists, and maybe they don't do good PR, so I don't know. But I think it's really important, especially social worker, to work there, because the staff members, they try to help, they try to do their best, but they're still not social worker. And working as a social worker without being a social worker is not that easy. Right, what I learned is that the most people that are at the Universidad Popular, they're really afraid of ICE. Some of them told me that they stay at home, they don't even go out of the house after the class, because like what happened to the man 3 weeks ago, people are talking, everybody knows what's going on, so they're really afraid to go outside or do something else. And that there are no social workers in the organization like that, and segregation. So I think this is not so good, because if you don't, because I don't know if you guys maybe know Little Village, so you see everything is in Spanish over there, so most of them say, yeah, I didn't learn before English because I thought, why? I don't need it. Because there is everything in Spanish. The doctor's in Spanish, the barber shop, so everything is in Spanish, so why should I learn English? But now they find out that it's important to learn maybe also English, not just Spanish. This was really surprising for me, that it exists a community like this where you just like can talk your mother language and be safe and live here, because some of our participants, they are like 27 years or longer here. Yes, so, and what I also saw is that the staff members, they're really working hard. They're not doing like 9 to 5, then they're like going home. Some of them, they're really like standing. Even me, I go sometimes at 9 over there, and if there's something important, I leave, I don't know, 8, 9. Or my boss, we always say he's living there. So he is really living there. And yeah, because the need is big, but the staff members are not that much. These are just the topics. If someone knows some volunteers who wants to work there at the Universidad Popular, so these are the options that people can get over there. So this is my work over here. Now I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my work in Germany. I'm just going to hold it short. In Germany, I'm working in a departure and returning council. It's for immigrants or refugees who has to go back to their home countries, who wants to go back to their home countries. Most of the time it works the same in Germany. If they denied your asylum case, the police are coming at 5 in the morning and take you, and you have like 10 minutes to pack your stuff, and they're going to depart you in an airplane, and you have to go back to your home country. So you don't know when it is, you don't know anything. It's really traumatizing. Yes, it's really traumatizing, especially for the kids, but also for the whole family, of course. And what we do, if you're I'm working at a non-profit organization. What we do is we have we have a law with the government that if the people are in our organization, they're not allowed to send it back to their home country because we are taking care of it. So when someone comes to my office, I just look through their case and see if they have any chance to stay in Germany, if they want to stay in Germany. And if, then I'm just going to walk with them and go this way to take their, to get their resident or their citizenship in Germany. If not, we try to help them to get a ticket, plane ticket, and we help them also to get some support. So we're not just sending them, we organize everything for them. Because they have to go back anywhere, so we try to help them not to go with the police. We try to help them back in their home countries to get a house, because most of them, they don't even have a house. They spend everything to get here or to Germany, and then now they have to leave and they have nothing left, or most of them, they don't even have family over there anymore. So we try to help them with financially help, or try to find an organization in their home countries that can help them when they're back. So we do the contact between the client and the organization. So when they're back, so we know that they are taking care of them. And we try also to find school for the kids, because it's not good if the kids are back and then, because they lost already 1 or 2 years, because when you don't, when the German government don't accept your application, most of the people, most of the kids, they're not even allowed to go to school. Because the situation in Germany in 2015, I don't know if you heard about it, we have a lot of refugees, and the system didn't really work. It's still not really working. So that's why we try to make it really short that the kids are not out of school, because it's really important years that they really need to go to school. So yeah, so we do a lot of things to help them going back, because the returning policy in Germany is changing right now. Back then, 2015, it was like a welcome society, let's say it like this in Germany. Everybody was like volunteering and we are going to help the refugees and the immigrants who are coming to Germany. But right now, because of the media, because of the politician, everything changed. The people are just like, no, they have to go back to their country. We have our own problems. We don't need them here. So they have to go back, and the politics is changing, and a lot of people has to go back right now. So it's really. But Katja will tell you more about it, so that's why I don't want to say more about it. Yes, this is my presentation. If you have questions, you can ask me later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moshe. I can see that the issue of human rights violations are not only in the US, it's everywhere, in Europe too. Okay, so we'll hear more about such violation, listening to Katja Netherlands.
Yes.
Okay, good. She's going to talk about, to present a case study from her work as well. Great.
Yes. So, I'm kind of a bit intimidated because they all did such a great job. First I will tell you a bit about World Relief in general and what we do there, but really just in a general way. I did it as a PDF to be extra short, so that's why it's a little bit different. In case if you can't read anything, just tell me. Okay, so World Relief is also a non-profit organization here in Chicago. It is a global organization. We also have it in Germany, but the tasks they do are very different. So here in Chicago, we have also legal support. There are lawyers coming in and supporting people, similar to what Moshe said about Universidad Popular. We have employment service, so people help refugees get jobs and help them stay in jobs and develop their careers. It started out as a resettlement agency, meaning whatever the presidential determination is, which was just signed this week and is the lowest in the last, I don't know, decade, that allows so many refugees to come to the States. There will be a certain number assigned to World Relief, and they will help them set foot in the States, mostly here in Chicago. So picking them up from the airport, setting up housing, setting up food, but last year there were 7 cases they did that way. So there was really close to nothing. The next presidential determination was 18,000, and it's still to be determined how much are going to come to Chicago. So that's all very a difficult area and hard to base your whole staff on, because you never know how much money you're going to get. So I work in the Preferred Communities program. And I'm just trying to get
This is, what about this one?
You scroll down
Yeah, scroll down.
with the mouse.
So I'm going to try to be extra
Scroll
short.
down. It's not working. So maybe scroll.
Ah, scroll.
Yeah,
Scrolling
scroll.
works.
Yeah.
Okay, then I will scroll. Okay, yeah, so we covered that. So the Preferred Communities program works 1 year or in special cases 2 years with especially vulnerable refugees and clients. We also have a project for asylum seekers, so people who don't have asylum yet or come undocumented. Clients that I mostly work with are already refugees, are in the process of getting everything together for the green card. So it's a total different clientele than like you guys or Moshta has. And so to be especially vulnerable, because we call it intensive case management, what you said about comprehensive case management is also very interesting. They have to have at least 2 of those vulnerability areas. So it's either health and medical, mental health, domestic violence, child abuse or neglect, homelessness or housing insecurity. They could be a member of the LGBTQIA+ community. It could be elderly or youth. So we have a lot of elderly people with very poor health. We have single mothers, and we have people with housing or insurance problems. So those are the biggest areas of clients we have. We have to enroll 30 people every year, so with cases running a year or 2, we have a current case like 40 cases-ish. I have 2 interns like me as well. They're undergrads, so it's a great place to do an internship if anyone is interested, because we really do the hands-on work similar to what those both said. Like we teach people to take the CTA. We have people who don't speak any English at all, so we're trying to help them find a way to take classes, to get in-home tutoring, to just figure out the health system, how to get health insurance. So it's all areas of human life, and a lot of, I will tell you later in the case study, like a lot of families made up a way to get through the system somehow, but it only works for a while until something goes wrong. And then the whole system crumbles and then they need help very dearly. So yeah, those are our most common areas of vulnerability that they have to be enrolled in our program. And they usually are referred by colleagues who are in the employment system saying, hey, I have this client whom I just got to work, but they say their mother is very sick and they don't know what to do with her. And so then we head out, talk to the person, talk to the mother, and see if they're eligible for our program. And if the goal is to have them at the point of self-sufficiency at the end of the year, so they should be able to do anything on their own, or have help or know the places where they can go to do those things that they want to do. If that's not the case, we can apply at the home office, like the big cover organization, to enroll them in another year to help them. So, let's see. Yeah. And the preparation for this, we're talking about challenges we have and chances that are given. I focused on things that I thought would be helpful for you guys in human qualities, to know, like if you want to work with refugees, what can be the challenges, but what can be chances in this whole work. So I'd be happy to send out that thing to every one of you because it's very small, I just realized. So challenges are definitely unemployment or low-wage work, because we have a lot of clients that start out in shelters that are usually not a very good quality, and it's really hard to live there with children, and mothers always fear for the safety of their children, and they can't go to work because they don't know what to do with their children at that time, because they know that they have to take care of them all the time and can't leave them alone there.
So, but to get childcare, you have to go to work. Then it's hard for them to understand that you first have to do this step, and then you can get childcare, then you can get a flat, because you just won't get anything without having a job, and then the job is very badly paid, or the work hours are impossible, especially for single mothers. We have a lot of people who suffer trauma, stigma, socialization, discrimination, and still do. This applies for all the areas. I kept it very general, but currently when I meet someone who's a refugee, I assume for the beginning that they all had some traumatic experiences in their life. They just, in the time, they waited in camps for a lot of time till they were able to get to the States. I know that one guy who lived 5 years in Australia in a camp till he was allowed to come here. He's from Bangladesh, and he's still waiting to get his family here. And he has a severe heart disease, and he's also waiting to get the operation, but first he wants to visit his family in case something goes wrong. And he hasn't seen his kids for 8 years, which is a huge number if you think about like not seeing your parents or siblings for 8 years. You're missing your whole life. So the biggest problem that also I, as a person, not even in a professional, but I as a person is facing is that limited and changing systems and resources. That's a huge difference I discovered compared to Germany. Like in Germany, you have-ish the same system everywhere you go. It differs a little bit, but you always have like social services, child security. They're all in the same hands most of the time. Here, if you go to a different city, everything is different, and it all depends on the people you know. You have to be really good at networking, and we have a resource list of people we can call in case of this. This document has 80 pages. It's impossible to know. I still don't know where to find things there, and my supervisor is really great in knowing, like I can just ask her, and she knows, okay, call this person at Heartland, call this person at this insurance company, and it's really hard to make this to be understood by a refugee if you don't really understand it yourself, and if it keeps changing all the time, like the healthcare system. So, like right now is the enrollment period for people who don't have health insurance. You really have to be like, it's just 2 weeks where you can change the situation of a person, and you have to be sure, like, are they eligible, and keep all that in mind. What is very interesting is also like the shortage of culturally and linguistically appropriate help. I apply that to myself because I work mostly with people back in Germany from Arabic-speaking countries, some of them from Central Africa. And here I met people from the same countries who speak an entirely different language. There are no interpreters for those languages. The rhythms of the family are entirely different. So I can't expect myself to know everything. Like, oh yeah, they're from the same country, I know this, I got this. It just does not work, and you really have to be aware of yourself that you don't know everything, and you have to be really sensitive and listen to the people as soon as you have opportunity to speak to them very clearly. What is what they need, what is what they know, and what they assume, because sometimes we talk about things and assume like that they understand, but the rhythm of understanding is totally different, and it leads to massive misunderstandings. Also, like how case management works, because the difference between I do something for you and I teach you how to do it yourself is huge, and that can be very hard, especially when someone does not speak their language and is illiterate in their mother tongue. It means they cannot read. So I can write to-do lists for them all day. It won't do anything if I can't get them to understand it somehow. So that's very important. So trust, changing contact persons, different intercultural demands is also a very big thing we're facing, because the people you talk to change all the time. Like in our agency, you have the case manager, you have employment, you have legal persons, and they call them maybe sometimes at the same day and asking them to come into the office. And it's super confusing for someone. So as a case manager, you have to be really on top, like who's talking to whom, who are the persons, and to kind of put it all together and structure it a bit. What always helps, of course, is interpretation, social and linguistic. That's very important. My personal experience is that an interpreter in person at the appointment is way much better than what I have here a lot than over the phone. Because the quality is bad. Sometimes people claim to speak a language they don't really speak or not speak fluently, and then our client says, I'm sorry, but this is no good. There are cultural differences. Like if we had it that some person speaks a different dialect, and they just assume that they're like mocking them, or there's some conflict in the home country between different groups. You have to be very sensitive about it, but overall it can really help. And the biggest part where I can just tell what Daniel and Katarina said, it's advocacy. It's what we're doing all the time, like trying to push through the rights that our clients have, because they're most of the time they're not understood. I guess all of you know those automatic phone thingies where you have to press certain numbers till you get to the person you actually want to speak with. If you speak English just a little bit, it's so hard to understand, it's super fast, and the descriptions are so abstract that you never, like, it took me a month till I figured them out. So it's really hard to help refugees there to understand those things. We work with a lot of volunteers as well that accompany the families, and we put a lot on those volunteers, like taking them to appointments. I myself as an intern go with our clients to medical appointments to help them explain, to advocate for them, because sometimes doctors are impatient, or the client is afraid to ask for an interpreter, which most doctors can get on the phone. But if the client is afraid to ask for it, the doctor's just doing their thing, and then the real questions are never answered. So that's what I do a lot, accompany clients to the doctor, and like, hey, but we talked about having more anxiety, or basically bursts, or just trying to figure out and keep a track of which medication they have to take when. Because that's also a huge thing. They usually bring 5 bottles of medication and don't know which to take when and how much. So these are the little practical things of everyday life that we're trying to keep track of. Okay. So let's see what I have next. Oh yeah, the case study. So this is really small, but I had to write it by hand because I did not figure out how to do it digitally, and it's a very old school way that we use in Germany to visualize family systems. So the circles are for women, the squares are for men because it's old school and very gender binary, but I'm going to ignore that because family, it fits for them. I changed their names to German names for anonymity. Originally it's a family from a third world country. So, yes. Can you scroll? Yeah, that's perfect. So we have 2 clients in this whole family. This is a family of 10 people. They live in 2 flats that are on top of each other. They're here in the States for a little bit over a year. They arrived on Halloween last year, which must have been pretty traumatic for them. Because in their culture, they have a lot of voodoo, and they believe in those things, like in magic, witches, and that must have been difficult to arrive here, and all of the city is in Halloween mood. So the client I met first, I called her Gabriella. She is like the matriarch of the family. She's divorced from her husband. We don't know where he is. No idea. He's not in the picture at all. She gets disability because she looks much older than she is. She weighs about 60 pounds. She has very severe health problems. She keeps losing weight. We don't know why. She has had an MRI, ultrasound, CTs, and they don't know why she's losing weight. They think it's psychological. They think she's traumatized, but she only speaks a certain language that we can't find any interpreters. Even on the very expensive hotlines, we can't find an interpreter for that hotline. So we usually use her first son, which is kind of unprofessional, but before you can't talk to a person at all, you kind of have to make it work somehow. Her second oldest son, he is the only one that speaks like proper English, still with an accent, but he's the translator for the whole family and the organizer. So when I have an appointment for one of the family members, I usually text him, say, hey, please tell this or that person, the appointment is there, I will be there, my supervisor will be there, we will take you there, because for his mom, transportation is the biggest issue for now, because she can barely walk, because she has severe back pain. She spends all day in bed as well. And how do we get her to appointments? My supervisor sometimes drives them in her private car, but she cannot be in 2 places at the same time where there's other appointments with 39 other clients. So there's a thing called PACE, which is then paid by the health insurance. You can apply for it, but they're usually late. They're not really reliable, so you have to teach them how to navigate through that system on its own as well. This is a life lesson on its own. So she's our client. Then her firstborn is our client as well. She's a single parent. And they all, like all the kids in the family, call their firstborn daughter after their mother. So we have one person with the same name, and I always have to ask, like, which Gabriella are you bringing now? Is it your mom? Is it your daughter? Is it your niece? So that's kind of a cute detail. So Maria, call her Maria, she works. She works from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. She has a 9-year-old daughter. Her daughter goes to school. She's doing well in school. But how does she take care of her child, right? She barely, during the week, she brings her daughter to school and spends time with her in the morning, but otherwise she doesn't see her. She's already sleeping when she comes back from work. So her sister-in-law is actually taking care of all the children in the family. But that means for the sister-in-law, she stays at home, she spends time with the children, she has no opportunity to learn English. Maria had no health insurance when I met her. She was working with gloves all the time in a very cold environment, and she had a very severe rash on both of her hands, and they suspended her from work because she's working with food. And we tried to get her back to work by fixing her health problem without having health insurance. So that took us 4 weeks to manage somehow. I called all the clinics that we have to get a low-cost exam by a dermatologist or just by a normal PCP. And actually ended up with a doctor that I've already been to a couple of times with other clients, and he was really nice and took care of her. It's just a simple issue. It's nothing that is contagious, but as soon as people hear that she doesn't have health insurance, they usually hang out or so like, we don't take new patients, and then it's done. So that's where advocacy really comes in, because you have to stay on the phone, you have to keep calling people. Right now I'm looking for a different client for a female psychiatrist. Our client has Medicaid. I'm looking for 4 weeks now. They're either full or don't take Medicaid or don't take that kind of insurance. So this is something that we really have to do for a client at the beginning, because they have to get in a place where they can learn. If you in the place where your trauma kicks in or where your anxiety kicks in, you cannot learn. So you have to get them in a place where they have energy to learn those things first. So that's where we at first do things for them and then try to get them there during the year. So yeah, and then they have 2 teenage kids as well, like siblings. They go to high school. I saw them once in the appointment. They didn't really talk to me. They were like, when they were teenagers, like having the hood over the face. But they all went together to one appointment to get their green card medical paperwork done. And I actually had all of them in one place for the appointment. What I experienced with this family is that they're super kind. They're very thankful for all the work we do with them. They're trying to understand, but they're also very insecure. I have that little coincidence with Maria because I thought she would be much younger than me. She's actually 1 year older. And I told her that because that surprised me, because all of the things she's been through, she really seems so young and energetic still. And I told her that, and she got really super shy and also happy about it. And I realized me as a woman, I'm in a good place in my life right now, and she's 1 year older and she faced so many different things and how different lives can be, and I cannot expect her to just step up her game and like, come on, I can do that, you can do it, because her story is totally different. But we bonded a little about having this conversation, and I'm really trying to get her to a place where she dares to speak English, because at some point on purpose, I do not call an interpreter, because if I do that all the time, she relies on that. And some simple things we actually, like with me, putting a lot of effort in it, because sometimes I'm a translator as well. That means I'm putting complicated things in very simple words for her to have the experience that she can understand what I want from her. And that also sometimes involves drawing things in my notebook. When I wanted to find out if she has depression, I'm just talking about like, are you happy? Are you sad? Do you feel empty? And I actually drew little pictures, and we were able to have that conversation. She was like, actually, no, I'm feeling good. It's just work that's stressing me out. And sometimes it's worth to put in that effort, because after that talk I was entirely exhausted, but she had that experience, like, hey, I got something this time. So our main goal with this family is to get them to a place where maybe Maria can be an official caregiver for her mom, because that's what she already does, and you can get paid for that in the States. You just have to apply for it. and then she can maybe work part-time or focus on finding a different job so she can spend more time with her daughter, and then her sister-in-law can start going to English classes, as well as Maria. With Gabriella, the main goal is still, like, she's enrolled for half a year, her file is that thick because of a lot of medical papers, is to find out what's happening, find out a way to get her to therapy somehow, because everything is pointing to the fact that she might be traumatized, or like she needs counseling. She's already has appointments with a psychiatrist who is only there by video call, which probably is a bit of a weird experience for Gabriella, but she already gets medication there, but it's not really helping with the appetite and with gaining a little bit of weight. So for her, like, we have to focus on the vital problem for now before we can do anything else. So, yes, they're applying for a green card, like, now. They should have the appointment now. So the interesting thing is, like, also having them to keep appointments is very interesting. My task as an intern is maybe to remind them a week before, the day before, and at that day. Just like, don't miss it, it's then there. I usually do that via text because I know her brother can read, and it's better for him to have it in a written way so he can just copy it, put it in Google Maps, and then find a way there. We gave them calendars, we gave them stickers to put in the calendars. It's not entirely working. I mean, I'm a total calendar person. I'm German. I like to make plans. I like to write everything down. I'm aware that it's not like that for a lot of people, and it's hard, like, when you have a family of 10 to structure all the appointments for them. And sometimes I feel like I could, like, give workshops on how to use a calendar best, just to keep track of everything. And we also try to teach them that, how do you know when your daughter's an appointment? Yeah, the doctor calls us the day before. Okay, but what if your mom has an appointment the same day? How would you know that they don't clash? And as long as it's abstract, it's really hard for them to understand it. And on the day it is happening that 2 appointments clash, they call us, can you please call them and switch the appointment? So that is, like, also a thing. And sometimes Maria just appears in our office, like, sitting there, our front desk worker comes and like, hey, she's here. She has 5 letters and 5 this thick letters with SNAP applications we have to fill out because they are horribly confusing, and I got very frustrated filling them out. So that's all the things we do with this family here. Fortunately, there's no, what I do in Germany is like child protection, child safety, group housing for children. I work a lot with those people. Child protection here is not a case. We have to report to the authorities if we see anything happening like that to children. There's like a whole handbook about what to do when you see child abuse, child neglect, or sexual abuse. In this family, this is not the case, but we already had that as well. We have a family from Somalia where cognitive challenged woman is married to a man who chose himself a second wife. But the cognitive challenged woman is taking care of his elderly mom and has a baby at home at the same time. And she really wants to leave him, and we already had her like looking at a shelter. But then her father said if she moves to a shelter, she's no longer a daughter of his. So we're all also dealing with those kind of things. And it's really hands-on work, having the talks, having the conversation. And what is also very different to my job in Germany I decide. I'm the legal guardian, I work with just minors, and if they're my ward, I have to decide what's best for them, and I'm legally bound by that. I can go into prison if I make a wrong decision. So, and here, I only work with adults. So I can only give them opportunities and explain them to them. But they have to decide in the end, and we have to roll with whatever decision they make, even if we think it's bad informed decision or like it's not going to work out. We have to be there and stick to the goals they set for themselves. Okay. And I think, yay, that should be it. Thank you.